guys, it's me again, and I am doing another tag video. And now nobody requested this, but I saw someone, I don't even know who it is, do this a long time ago, so I found the questions, and I just felt like talking and answering questions because I am in a weird mood. It's Monday, and today just felt really weird, like off. Like, not in an anxiety kind of way, like when I get anxious, but in a this isn't real, where am I, what's going on with the world kind of feeling. So, I don't know. Trying to change that, trying to have a better evening. So, this is the horror movie tag. This is very appropriate for things that I love, and this will probably be very difficult to answer, so this might be a little bit lengthy. So, here we go. So, question number 1. Your favorite scary movie. Now, for this one, like, I love horror. I love many movies, and I can be in moods where I like one movie more than the other, but I have to say, hands down, Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one, is, like, a favorite of mine. I mean, that's the movie that got me into horror, and, I mean, it's just one of those movies. It's just great. I love it. Who is your favorite Scream Queen? Wow. I kind of have to go old school with Jamie Lee Curtis because though she was labeled the Scream Queen, I really think for her time and era that she was doing those movies that she did them well, even though some of them, like Prom Night, was kind of more cheesier than, you know, Halloween. She always struck something. Like, I associate classic movies with her, so I'll go with her. What type of horror film do you like? I definitely like the supernatural, spiritual movies a little bit more, like The Exorcist. I love demonic possession movies. I love The Conjuring. I like stuff like that. But that doesn't mean I don't like, you know, the dark comedy horrors or the cheesy horrors. I mean, I love Trauma. I love Trauma. So that's my top of my list, definitely. If I have to pick one, it would be like the supernatural kind. What type of horror film do you not like? I don't think there's a type that I don't like. There are definitely movies that I do not like. Yeah, I kind of like all horror. If you were a if you were a Scream Queen in any movie, which one would it be? Janet Leigh, Psycho. That is like one of my favorite movies is Psycho, and that whole bathroom scene. I mean, come on, how many times have you been in a bathroom and felt uneasy? Like when you're in the shower? I know I have, and just how Hitchcock filmed that scene, I mean, it was brilliant. And you didn't see, like, the knife actually cut. You just saw it going at her, and then you see the blood. I mean, it was very psychological. Like, I think, like, when I first saw that, I thought I saw blood, like red blood. And I think that's, like, a lot of people who said that. You know, it's in black and white. So I would be Janet Leigh from Psycho. Who's your favorite horror villain and why? I love Freddy Krueger. I have a Freddy Krueger tattoo, which is in another video of mine. But I love Leatherface. I love Texas Chainsaw. I love a lot of different horror villains, and the reasons why is because of the character, you know? Freddy Krueger, I loved him. I loved how he came into your dreams and how he twisted your dreams around and how he ended up killing you in real life. I mean, I love that. I love Leatherface because, I mean, come on now. A creepy guy wearing skin mask chasing you with a chainsaw, that's terrifying, you know? Who is the worst horror villain and why? Worst horror villain. I don't know. Worst. See, there's not that many movies that are on my bad list. That would be a horror villain. Um, I don't know. I'm not going to answer that. What is the worst horror film you have seen and why? I know this. I know it. And I don't even have to think about it. The Human Centipede 3. Now, if you haven't seen it, maybe you shouldn't. I mean, I don't know. I thought that movie was terrible. I mean, there was scenes that were good, you know, like they didn't shy from the gore so much so, but the storyline was just ridiculous, and the acting of the doctor, the guy who played the doctor in the first one, I can't even think of his name. His acting was so overdone and annoying. So annoying. And then the short little stubby dude from the second film, his character was tolerable, much more than the other guy. But I mean, they went in a stupid direction. I mean, if you think about it, like doing that to a whole prison is a crazy thought. And I think they went there with the craziness. I mean, they had a porn star in there, and of course she was like stereotypical. It just was bad. I had such high hopes for part 3. I mean, part 1, when that came out, that was like disturbing. Not disturbing, but I mean that concept and everything. And part 2 was equally scary to me in the sense of this guy watched the movie and thought it was, you know, medically accurate and tried it, and like that guy was gross and I loved it. But part 3, really? I think that was just bad. That was just overall bad. I was very disappointed, and it was the worst, like, $5 or whatever I spent to get it on demand. I will not buy that movie. Alright. Which horror film do you think is overrated? There's a lot of horror movies that are coming out these days that are a little overrated. I can't think of any titles off the top of my head. I want to say like there was the Oculus that came out. I thought that had a huge hype and it was an okay storyline. I don't dislike it, but I didn't love it. I thought maybe found footage movies, I like them, but I think they're a little overrated because, I mean, with Blair Witch, that came out and that was great. I remember there was such a hype when that came on. Like TRL, the actress, came on TRL and people were like, it's a movie, it's not real. You know, that was brilliant. For that time, it was great. I do like some of the Paranormal Activity movies, but I think you can only do so much with them that they become the same thing over and over again. So maybe found footage movies are a little overrated. Which horror film is underrated? Underrated horror film. I don't know if it's underrated. I just know it's a movie that actually doesn't have much of a hype that I found. Unless it's just me and I'm like oblivious. I thought Starry Eyes was great. That movie was really good. I think there's a lot of movies like on Netflix that people don't discover unless you're like a person like me and actually goes through and watches almost everything under the horror. Like I thought that was great, and I thought Mockingbird, that was weird. I don't think it's horror necessarily, as more as a thriller, but Mockingbird, you know, some of those movies are underrated because there's not a lot of talk, I guess. Do you like horror spoof movies? I do. I like to laugh. Now, I'm not big into them, but I like them. What is your favorite horror movie series? Hmm. Horror movie series. I like the Saw movies. Yeah. I did not like the very last one. I mean, it was okay, but right now that's the first one that comes to the top of my head were the Saw movies. Um, Name 13 horror villain movies? What? That's just a dumb question. Why would I want to name 13 horror movie villains? Okay, so I'm not going to answer that. Anyway, those questions were okay. See, with me and horror, I love a lot of it, and like a lot of things like Motel Hell or a lot of the older films like Ghoulies and God, like stuff from the 90s and the 80s. I love those movies. Those movies, I think, are a little bit more underrated because I think when people are coming back with these cult classics, they're going to the main, like Freddy and Jason and Michael. But, you know, a lot of the other movies like Ghoulies, you don't hear too much about. You know, like Puppet Master is pretty good and pretty up there, but I don't hear a lot of people talking about that as much anymore. I just love all horror. I guess I'm not that picky. Like I said, there's not really a genre I really dislike when it comes to horror. I just dislike some movies. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you guys want to do the horror movie tag, go right ahead. I'm not going to tag anybody, but it would be curious to hear your answers. So if you're feeling up to it, I would love to hear them. Anyway, guys, I hope you like this video. I hope you're having a good night, and I will talk to you guys later.